Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dynamite Show. I am not Paul Fontaine, if you can tell. He is in Winnipeg right now, obviously catching Dynamite and Rampage, and maybe he would drive home as quickly as possible to do a drive-by to give some live take analysis from tonight's shows. But I am here. I'm Keila Cash. I'm one half of the Wrap on the Fight Game Media Network, and yes, I too love WWE and AEW. That is quite a concept in 20. I couldn't resist. You can
I
like both.
couldn't resist, could you?
I couldn't. You could like both, love both, and I indulge in both regularly right here on the Fight Game Media Network. But joining me tonight at this late hour, I bring to you the regular face of the Dynamite Show, guiding me through the waters. My first time in as a special guest co-host, I bring to you Jeff Hawkins. Hello, Jeff. Welcome back.
I've run off Kevin Ely, I've run off James McDaniel, I've run off Paul, and I've run off the power bombshells. You're brave, Keila. Very, very brave. No, I'm doing good. This is an interesting night. We both came into this not knowing we were going to be doing 3 hours of wrestling content, which did we miss the memo, or was this always like this?
You know, it kind of came out of nowhere that it was going to be a 3-hour show tonight. Rampage says, guess what? 10 o'clock, maybe 10 Eastern. We got a surprise for you. This might be, honest to goodness, the new trend alert for the fall when Warner Brothers Discovery give AEW their money. And the new deal will be a 3-hour block of wrestling for AEW, either on Wednesday or Saturday night. And I want your thoughts on that possibility. Can you endure a 3-hour block every Wednesday of AEW television or Saturday after Collision?
I do another show called Shake Them Ropes on Voices of Wrestling where I cover both WWE and AEW. I don't know if I can handle another 3-hour show. I figured they told us about this at 2:45 in terms of the 3-hour block on Saturday, and I just missed it for some reason. I am somewhat skeptical about AEW getting their money. I know that's gonna come to the shock of a lot of people, but I think they may get moved to another property on WBD. I think they may end up on True TV versus TNT. I think so, but I think so. We can't really talk about this until we know whether or not the NBA is getting their money from WBD, because it's starting to look like they may be the odd man out on this new NBA TV deal. Because there's 4 partners. I don't think TNT is one of them, and I don't think they want to be that second partner. So if the NBA money goes away and can be spent on something else, sure, they'll probably back up a Brinks truck for AEW and overpay for them. The NBA comes back. We have the NHL. We possibly have the WNBA starting to expand their reach.
Mm-hmm.
I could see them saying, hey, we kind of want to make TNT a more serious sports network. Let's move this over to True TV and put it up with the Impractical Jokers 6-hour block over there, or whatever they're doing on True. But I think it's too much too. I actually think 2 hours of Dynamite is sometimes too much, because it's the philosophy of how Tony books to me. I think it's one of those things where it's it feels like a longer show than it is, because good wrestling on TV does not necessarily make for good television wrestling, if that makes sense. And I think you can try and get that much real estate out there, but I think it's one of those things where it's they have 5 hours of TV right now, and they don't really do great builds on it. So giving them another hour I think would probably make the good stuff a little bit worse. And I'm not saying that in the most negative light in the world. I'm just saying it could take away from the stuff you're really trying to focus on in favor of putting on more product. So I don't know. What do you think?
Let's see. I've been watching WWE Raw for 3 hours for 12 years, and 8 of those years, it was very painful.
Yes.
And it's always that third hour lull period of death that drags and drags until the end of the show. And you had the overrun for years. Now AEW Dynamite has an overrun that they still won't tell the cable providers there's an overrun, and you got to go on your DVR and you got to add time to the live show. So I think that for me, I would like to see Rampage if Tony Khan is really adamant about keeping Ring of Honor under his umbrella and wants to make money off of it. Rampage should be a Ring of Honor show spun off onto Max. And that's how you get your dollars. And therefore, you keep Dynamite on TNT and or True TV or TBS, wherever it may go. And then you have Collision on TNT on Saturdays. That would be my option, because my thought process is when Rampage started back in 2021, it was basically an A- show that I watched every single week. The moment the cards diminished, the star power went down, I stopped watching it. It became a C show. So if I can skip it, it really doesn't matter to me at that point. So for me, it can go. It can go as a Ring of Honor show on Max, truly, and I won't miss it.
It's interesting because I think my position on Ring of Honor is well known, because I think Ring of Honor, there's no money in it. It's a vanity nostalgia play, but it's like having a lesser restaurant inside of a good restaurant. You know, it's like having I don't know what's a bad fast food restaurant that people see, I mean, that other than McDonald's or something that's not known. It's like having, you have a great steakhouse, but you have a crappy burger restaurant in the middle of it. And that's what ROH is to me. Because I mean, while I like all the people in it, it's technically nothing on AEW television, and you're still trying to get AEW over as a brand, and you can't get this ROH thing over as a brand in any aspect until you actually get the AEW thing over as a brand. So it works against it, in my opinion. But I agree with you for the most part. I think 3 out. That's not even a movie. That's a movie and a movie together. That's an entire evening that you have to sit in front of the television watching wrestling, and it didn't used to be that way. I know people like wrestling. I like wrestling. I like other things. I want to see other things. I want to see other people. I want to watch Shogun. I haven't had time to watch. I haven't had the whole thing on my DVR. I haven't had it because I've had wrestling for 3 hours a night almost every night. It's ridiculous. But yeah, no, I agree with you. We shall see. We had a signing in AEW. Apparently, are you on the Camille train?
I like Camille. She has presence. I would like to see what she brings to the women's division. She teased a signing. It's been happening for a while now, so I'm very happy that she is officially All Elite until that graphic pops up. It's not official yet.
You're correct.
Yes, but she has been signed according to reports, and I'm very happy about that.
I liked her in NWA and NWA. Dead set, perfect for Hunter in WWE. And then it almost happened, and then they got Jade, which I have no beef with. But then you didn't need Camille because you have Charlotte and you have Jade. So I think she brings something different. I it's one of those things where it's like I worry. I always ask, can they talk? And Camille's not a terrible talker. She's just not a great talker. But she's an imposing presence. Like, she could be a second for a wrestler and look the part and be great. It's just at that point where you break them up that I worry about. But no, I really like, I really think she should have had more exposure like 4 years ago. So I'm very happy about that.
Yes, me too. I liked her cameo appearances when she was the NWA Women's Champion. I really enjoy her work. So I think that she'd be a good, valuable asset to AEW. To circle back on Swipe's question, I could see Rampage being on Wednesdays. It's like a good lead-in. Dynamite's a good lead-in, I should say, for Rampage, and the number will hold up better versus Friday. But at the same time, it's like it's still 3 hours of a show.
You know what that turns into? That turns into when it was like it's Monday Night Raw and Warzone.
Get out of my head.
They were
Get out of my head. Get out of my head, Jeff, because I swear it was in my mind watching Rampage tonight. I thought, welcome to the Dynamite Zone, hour 3. And then after 11 o'clock, it's Dynamite Zone 1.5 because the
although
run.
if they did correctly, like tonight would be awesome. Like 10 p.m. or whatever it is. 10 p.m. We get a little bit rated R. We core. We get a little bit more blatant, and this is the we make Rampage kind of the adult hour of wrestling. Put the kids to bed. You differentiate a bit as opposed to it just being a third hour of Dynamite. I mean, God bless Sky Blue and Willow. We'll get into that.
They definitely tried their best. Are you suggesting Dynamite after dark?
I'm suggesting AEW Shotgun Wednesday night.
I love it. I listen, anything to shake up the 10 o'clock hour, I am here for it. But yeah, we did not expect many hours of Dynamite and Rampage tonight. It was a way to say, hey, NBA playoffs and the NHL playoffs take precedent over AEW right now. Collision is preempted this week. It'll be back next Saturday. So we'll see what the trend alert is going to be heading into the fall, if they in fact get their money. Sideswipe also says Rampage is the Cope hour. I like that. I actually kind of feel that because the Cope hour, the Cope Cup, the Open Cope, I like that.
Well, we gave Collision to Punk for a few weeks. Why not give Rampage to Edge?
Yes, why? Exactly. Isn't that crazy? CM Punk had his own show, and then it did not last 3 months.
Well, neither did Punk.
That iteration of Collision, the movements they made, the accommodations they made, and it just, let Adam Copeland have Rampage for Fridays or Wednesdays, whenever they decide to air the show. Yeah, let that be the Cope hour. I'm here for that. Let him have 20-minute bangers on Rampage. I like that idea. Let him be the face of Rampage. I like it. But let's dive into tonight's AEW Dynamite, going down live from the Canada Life Center in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. Safe to say, the life in Canada Life Center was kind of lifeless for some of the show. I'm not going to lie. Some heat spots here and there, kind of cold, especially during Rampage. But I thought that for the things they were up for, they were up for. The things they were down for, they were down for. But Jeff, your overall perception of the crowd in Winnipeg last night?
I don't crowd shame. I think the stuff that they thought was important, they were into, and the stuff that had a little bit of snap to it, they were into. But just basic good wrestling, they weren't into.
No, they were not. And we'll get into that as we dive into the card for last night, as we kick things off with Tony Khan live from Jacksonville, Florida, because last week the Elite destroyed Tony Khan and they put him in a neck brace. And this got amazing publicity because we kind of hoped and prayed on social media that, hey, Tony, here's an opportunity to get yourself over and your company. You got to rock the neck brace for night 1 of the NFL draft. And sure enough, in the Jacksonville Jaguars war room, he had the neck brace on and popped everybody. And then he said things on Friday on the NFL Network that kind of negated some of the goodwill he built up, but he got some of it back via this appearance in the neck brace, saying, I am unable to travel due to my various injuries, but I'll be handling things remotely. And then we get the static shot of the Young Bucks in the production truck saying, well, you know what? Since Tony's unavailable, we're here tonight. We're running the show now. And as EVPs, there is a no cut clause. It's ironclad. We can't be fired for anything, not even for beating up our boss. So now they have customized their entrance for the introduction for Dynamite, and it's all the Elite. It's the
all
Bucks.
Elite wrestling. This is what I called for last week. I am so happy about this. I did not have any problem with the Tony Khan neck brace thing because I'm happy that they didn't go super serious with like the real like plastic neck brace or a halo or something when he's on the media. It's the stupid foam little neck brace that like all I could think was Bill Murray in Wild Things. If you ever saw that movie, fantastic. Where he's playing injured and he just kind of rips it off at one point and throws it away. it's the perfect amount of kitsch, because you're never and kudos to the legitimate news organizations that didn't condescend to Tony. Like they got the perfect outlets that know a little bit about pro wrestling, and some are even fans of pro wrestling, to be in on okay, and they don't dwell on it. They don't follow up on the questions. They just assume, okay, you got beat up in your wrestling company. Now here's your questions about the Jags. I thought everybody kind of did their part rather well here.
They really did. I was really impressed. It was tongue in cheek in some areas, but they kind of took it seriously. They didn't poo poo on it, which I appreciated. They were in on the joke, and I like that in 2024. As Represent 519 says, the segment made me realize I have McMahon's winning wild trauma still in 2024. I'm not going to lie to you. When I saw, especially the closing segment, which I enjoyed actually, it was given the Authority 2013 when Triple H and Stephanie was running WWE, and it was overwhelming. But this versus what they did last week, which I think the fans kind of enjoyed, Tony Khan getting beat up, Kenny Omega, as we'll get to at the end of this episode, I thought that was a better way to get that heat in a good way and not go for laughs and really the camp of it all. So it is given a lot of authority and a lot of the McMahon Helmsley era of the early 2000s, but for the angle they did at the end of the show, I will allow it this week.
Yeah.
As we get to the opening segment with our AEW World Champion, Swerve Strickland, coming out to find out who he will be facing for the AEW World Championship at Double or Nothing at the end of this month in Las Vegas. And, the one thing you don't do, Swerve, is call out your EVPs and saying what they did last week was a bitch move because they run the show and therefore they will select your opponent for you. So, of course, Nicholas and Matthew Jackson appear in the production truck area once again to remind Swerve who runs the show. And they have a Canadian who's been away for a while, and they have selected this person to be his opponent at Double or Nothing. And it is a returning Christian Cage, former TNT champion, and he comes out. We think he's got something to say alongside the West of Patriarchy, but he just throat checks Swerve and beats him up thanks to Kill Switch, Nick Wayne, and Shayna's out there just observing the scene. And we get a backstory to explain why Christian Cage is coming for Swerve. And that is, remember last summer, Swerve Strickland brutally attacked Nick Wayne at the crib. Swerve has a history of attacking people and tormenting people at the crib. And when you leave Christian Cage's son bloody and bruised and battered, he doesn't forget that. That's a receipt. Then they tag teamed at All In London last summer, and that did not end well for Swerve either. So Christian Cage has a long memory, and this beatdown makes sense. Kill Switch on the championship belt. We have the beatdown. It makes sense, and the match is set for Double or Nothing. Swerve versus Christian Cage for the AEW World Championship.
I liked the bit of the swerve where it's like they're trying to tease that it's going to be Kenny, even though we all know it's not going to be Kenny. I think Christian's a good opponent. I just don't know for a Big Four pay-per-view if you don't need to put a little bit more work in before you make Christian the number one contender to your title. Now, don't get me wrong. We have 3 or 4 weeks of Wednesdays to build this feud now, and that's good. It's just one of those things where it's like, Christian, huh? And then you always go, where is he in the rankings? The rankings had lasted a week. Yeah, I mean, and Christian's the kind of guy you need for Swerve because Christian can handle not all of the heavy lifting, but enough of the lifting of the vocal part of the promo part for Swerve to play off of. Because I think Swerve is the type of guy who needs a guy to play off of in terms of promo battles. And I think that'll be good. I do fear a little bit Christian just being so good at it, he swallows up Swerve in his first feud just a little bit on the mic. I liked the connection of the backstory I don't quite buy all of it in terms of, oh, that's interesting. Huh. Okay, that's how they're going to go about it. I mean, it felt like a Tony Khan move as opposed to I want to hear why Christian doesn't like Swerve. And I got, he lost a year ago in a match. Okay. But I want to just hear the basic Christian doesn't like Swerve Strickland. I hate you. That kind of thing. It was kind of like one of those things where it's like it got the surface level stuff right. Now I want a little bit of the emotion, a little bit of depth in there. Shayna is wearing like 8-inch heels and is towering over everybody, including almost Luchasaurus in that ring. I was a fan of 80s wrestling, and I was a fan of Baby Doll back in the day, and she kind of did the same thing. But I don't know if you want somebody who's taller than both Swerve and Christian in the ring there when you're trying to get over your main event for your next pay-per-view angle. That's all. I kind of like the little feint that Swerve did where he almost punched her.
Yes.
I know a lot of people get antsy about man-on-woman violence in wrestling in this day and age. But again, I am a little desensitized to it from the 80s, so I apologize if me saying I liked it might be bad. But he withdrew. He didn't do it. And I thought that was the nice moment for then, okay, now the heels can take advantage of that. I thought that was a nice little touch there.
I liked it too. Prince Nana got that business too. Nick Wayne hit him with the cutter. And then the sell job of him like flopping like a fish was the chef's kiss.
Off of a cutter.
Yeah,
I appreciate. He was not only doing the seizure, he was doing the stanky leg too.
The stanky leg seizure sell job of like, this is the most painful thing I've ever experienced in life, and I love him for it.
This is why I like Nana so much. He's just such an old school carny. So good at that.
He's the best. I love him. Never break them up, by the way. And then Sideswipe mentions the last time we saw him, Copeland was assuring him, so a bit of a rebuild would be nice. I agree. Like, this guy got his ass whooped at the last event. I would just like to see him, I don't know, maybe earn the shot, win a match or two, and then get those rankings in there as well that no longer matter. But hey, make us care. I do like the surface level stuff that you mentioned. Okay, there's a backstory here. There's a history there from last year. Now, mind you, Christian didn't give a solitary damn about Nick Wayne during that beatdown last year at the crib, but now he does. That is a father for you. And then Christian tells Swerve, oh, your daughter doesn't know you, but now she wants to get to know you as champion. Well, when I'm done with you, I'm going to be your daddy too. So you're just collecting kids all over the country.
Yeah, as much as there's a hero's journey in this, there's also a villain's journey at times. And I kind of wanted to see, I want to see the rebuild of Christian, and not just he's been gone for a while. He comes out and now he's the #1 contender. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think that's what's missing here for us to really get involved with it. But we're gonna have a couple of weeks where Swerve gets to destroy Luchas or kill Switch and Nick Wayne. I'll be fine. I don't think that does much for Nick Wayne, unfortunately, but he's 19. He'll get over it, I guess. But yeah, I it's one of those things where it's like a couple weeks worth of promos with Christian coming back, maybe a match he won, a warm-up match to get back into it. And then, maybe, this would have been the time for a battle royal type of thing to establish that.
See, that's too much thinking, Jeff. That's too much logic you're using.
I know. I like logic in my wrestling. It's sad, isn't it?
Tragic, but I'm here for it. As Twain Mack says, highly recommend Swerve's interview with Christian from his podcast. It happened almost a year now. I will look into that. Swerve is a great interviewer. Love his podcast. And also he mentions Shayna was giving me Charlotte Stephanie McMahon vibes with those heels towering over Swerve. Yes.
Because I think she's 5'11", 5'10" without. So,
Jesus.
So it's like one of those things where it's like, okay, cool. But yeah, Swerve also has Osprey on this week, I think, on his podcast.
I'm looking forward to that interview. So, good guy. As predicted on this show. No. Yes.
You can take a week off. Get away.
Yes. It's happening. Paul Fontaine drove home.
I won't be here long. I still have to put Emily to bed and stuff, but how are you guys doing?
We're doing great. I had to like reset the table here. Like, okay, 3 for the wrap, even though it's not the wrap, but Paul has arrived. Hello, Paul.
Yeah, I just wanted to pipe in with some live thoughts, if that's okay.
Sure.
Go for it.
So I can honestly say I don't think I've ever heard / felt a reaction like there was for the main event segment, and I'm not sure what they did on TV, because from what I understand, they were in some cases piping in sound, in some cases muting sound that was happening. So it was silent. Like
Huh.
there was no, like, it wasn't, people weren't mad at the heels. They were concerned for Kenny, I think, is how it was happening. Like they weren't, like, it wasn't like you would have expected like
it wasn't ironic detachment. They were actually genuinely concerned.
I
about
believe
Kenny.
so, yes.
Okay.
I you don't know. I didn't interview everyone coming out of it or whatever, but
Wow.
it's certainly how the people in my section felt, they were just like concerned. And then, and then it was kind of, well, maybe he's okay and that's why he did it, like your head starts to kick in after a bit. But when you're first watching it, you're like, please don't hit him in the gut. Please don't hit him in the gut. And then they hit him in the gut, So
the piping question is interesting. I'll be very interested to see when you watch this on TV, because there was a moment, I forgot what, I think it was during the Copeland Buddy Murphy match.
There was silence. Like at the end of that, when they were doing the beatdown thing or whatever, and Edge got the chairs, like it was silent.
Okay, but there was a moment in there though where there was a chant going, and I see everybody kind of sitting there, they're clapping and chanting, and I can see absolutely nobody standing up and clapping or chanting.
Yeah,
and I was wondering if there might be some production stuff going on there, but
and Christian got like a baby face pop when he came out.
Yeah,
and I don't know if that came across on TV.
It did.
When they showed the beatdown on Swerve, there was way more sound in what they showed because they played it on the screen like during Rampage, and so we could hear the audience reactions that you guys would have saw on TV, which is not what was happening in the building. Like it was more people were kind of cheering for Swerve for Christian. They booed the one line about the Winnipeg Jets heavy,
yes,
but everything else they cheered Christian, and Swerve they just didn't care about.
Did they show you the ambulance beatdown in the crowd
with Kenny or
with Kenny?
Yeah,
okay.
we saw him.
But I know sometimes
off.
they won't show stuff that's on
no,
TV
we saw that,
okay.
But it was kind of like at that time too. It was just people were just like numb. Like normally you would have kind of expect a reaction, like when they called him out of there, like you would get the polite applause or whatever, like when an athlete gets hauled out. It was weird. Joe was by far, I think, the most over baby face besides Kenny.
And he's a heel.
I don't think, is he a heel? Isaiah's a heel, isn't he?
Joe's a heel.
I think he's a baby face now. I bet you anything he's wrestling Okada on the pay-per-view. So maybe he's turning babyface. I don't know. But yeah, it was and a lot of like coming out of the building, like hearing people talk, and wasn't as good as last time is what people are saying. I looked at the card last time and it was pretty good card we got last time. We didn't, the problem is all the Winnipeg guys are heels. So, other than Kenny, who's hurt. So, and Jericho, the Jericho Shibata match was awesome live. I don't know how it was on TV, but it was super fun live. Good. The chops. I can't, the best way I can describe the chops, especially from Shibata, they sounded like a kendo stick hitting the ring steps. That's like live, and we were far. Like I posted some pictures from our view. It looked good. It looks better than it looks in my picture, but we're pretty far, and we weren't hearing a lot. But those chops we could hear like loud. So yeah, that was cool. And then the main event on Rampage was, was great. Live. I mean, the crowd didn't react to much except for the hardcore stuff, but I mean, that bump that Sky Blue took. I posted a picture on X. They were still picking her out of that barbed wire like 3 minutes after the show went off the air. Oof. Yeah. Stokely's in the ring doing a promo, and Statlander's with him. You can kind of see them in the background of my picture, and there's 8 people trying to pick Sky out of the barbed wire. I think it might have just been her hair. Like she's probably okay, but just her hair got stuck in it. So cool. But from what I'm gathering, it sounded like people really liked the show on TV. Is that accurate or is it mixed?
I think it's fair to say, like, we can pick up when the crowd was cold. The main event's interesting because we did hear heat,
Okay.
but I don't know if it was piped in. I can't say for sure, but I heard heat during the main event angle. But for the show itself, yeah, it was hot and cold with crowd reactions. But as a TV show, as an episode, I thought In Ring was pretty good.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I think for me, I think the matches were a little too long. To be honest with you, I think they didn't hold the crowd's attention, and then once the crowd was kind of like, "All right, we know who's gonna win, let's get to it," and then they went about 5 minutes longer.
Buddy Matthews and Edge is still wrestling, right?
I think yes.
Okay.
and Claudio and
That one
His
didn't feel
guy.
too bad live.
Okay.
You know, I don't know what it was. It felt like maybe 8 to 10 minutes, like, which is probably about 6 minutes too long, you know, for those two. My buddy, who is kind of, I would call him a casual AEW fan, he was with me, and he hadn't been watching AEW for a while, and he started watching the last few weeks because he knew we were going to the show. And his comment a lot of times was, okay, we've got a guy here who I know is a star against a guy who I know is a loser. Why is this going so long?
Yeah.
Like, he said that about 4 times. And then he's like, why is Rocky Romero on TV wrestling a long match with a guy who just wrestled for a title? Like, this is what he's telling me, you know, like, and you know, and Kyle O'Reilly, God bless him, but
that was kind of the vibe I got on the conversation I was talking to you about earlier before we went on the air, Keel.
Mhm.
I that's the same kind of thing. They're like, why is, I mean, I know Shibata's this legend, but he's never beat anybody in AEW.
Mm.
Why is this going on for this long, and why are their top guys having such a hard time with him? Type of a thing. Their thought is, and I find this to be an interesting theory, and I'm not sure it's true, but I like to focus test on this show to bring it to my other show, so it's great. That the long matches are hurting the stars more than they're helping the other guy in the match.
And would you be more effective to maybe have it be a little bit shorter and have time to do another short match to get somebody else over?
I mean, I've always suggested just bringing in bringing in local talent and letting guys run through them.
Yeah. We got that on the pre-show.
And then you save these for like the TV main event things.
Yeah, like on the pre-show, we saw a couple like awesome, like not I'd say awesome, but you know, your great jobbers, like the guys that, you know, they just the pasty bodies and
overweight,
long hair. Yeah,
hair
yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
fit. Oh, it's great.
And they bump like machines.
Yes.
Like they're just great. Yeah. Okay, the one burning question I had in kayfabe, why was FTR there?
You know,
Bucks are in charge, right?
yes.
So the Bucks flew FTR to Winnipeg on the company dime for shits and giggles?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Just making sure. Yeah.
Maybe
that's a rib.
I'm sticking to it.
Maybe that's a rib. They flew them out there and then, sorry boys, we got nothing for you.
Well, we were yes, no, that's exactly it. We beat them at the pay-per-view, and now we're just flying them in and making them sitting in catering. Now,
okay, you know what?
If they had done that on TV, that would have been awesome.
Yes, it would. Yeah. How did Cash get across the border? That's a great question.
That is, listen, sideswipe. No, wait a minute. Pause. Flat. Let me, no, put this back up. Wait a minute. Because
Jason coming in hot.
We have to really think about this.
Fastball there.
Cash got charges on him right now, and I don't know how he pulled off flying across the border. That is a valid question.
He was in one of the crates for the gear.
Not the crates.
I suspect I would have felt better about this show if I wasn't there live and it wasn't in Winnipeg. I think I would have enjoyed the main event segment a lot more. The other thing you got to remember is our team got killed last night by the Avalanche, and it's pretty negative vibes around here. And we went out to wrestling, wanted to feel good. Hey, there's Kenny. He's back. He's giving a speech. Oh no, he's hurt. He might not be coming back. Oh no. And then he gets hit in the gut, and it's like, we're getting hit in the gut. I think that might be part of what was going on tonight. Maybe.
I think so. My theory was, and look, we got like an hour to get through 3 hours of wrestling.
Yeah. I'll tap on it.
But that's fine. But it was also like, other than that first segment, what angles or anything for the pay-per-view were really forwarded? And there weren't any. to me.
Mariah,
Swerve.
Mariah, Serena, did that now I'm not clear.
Okay,
Was that
maybe.
match made before, or did Serena winning get her the match with Tony at the pay-per-view?
No,
Yes.
that match was made before the
It
Serena.
was.
Yeah.
It was?
Yeah.
Okay, well then.
Okay, then they flashed it on the big screen that it was official.
Well, basically they had said, hey, next time you see me with this belt, I'll be wearing it. So they basically said we've signed the belt.
Okay.
And in the meantime, we're just gonna book this match with Mariah.
So we basically added one match to the pay-per-view, and that's it. We did a promo to build up Roddy and Will Ospreay.
Yeah.
That's it. No Will Ospreay tonight. I was really sad about that, but what can you do? I wasn't expecting Danielson. Moxley would have been nice, but oh well. Renee was there. I guess Moxley had to stay home and look after the girl.
Yes, like babysitting duty. Dad, do dad things.
She
tonight.
doesn't. Maybe you know what? Maybe the baby doesn't have a passport yet, and she can't get across. I don't
The
know.
baby has been to Toronto, Paul.
Oh, has she? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I didn't know.
Yes.
Wow.
Okay.
I just had to confirm. I've seen Renee's IG. The baby's made it over the border a few times.
That's how Cash got across the border. He dressed as the baby.
I'm Dax's baby.
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna tap out and let you guys
Thank
get
you.
back to your
Okay,
show. I will
cool.
listen later. I just wanted to pipe in with I can. I have to be on camera.
We love that. And before we even hit the air, Jeff predicted this. Like he said that Paul is going to rush home. He's going to say, I'm going to do a drive-by, get on this camera and talk about the live experience.
I have these thoughts in my head.
I
need
thought
to get out
I thought
right
I
now.
might be doing it. Okay, you want to know the honest truth? The show ended at 10. There was an overrun, right? It ended at like 10:05 or something our time, 11:05 Eastern, 8:05 Jeff's time. I was in my car and we stayed for the post-match promo too. So Edge did like 5 minutes. We were in our car 15 minutes after the hour. I was in my front door at 35 minutes after the hour. That's Winnipeg. It's awesome, man. Like, plus there's no one in the building, so that was pretty easy to get out.
Oh wow.
How many did you think were there? By the way?
No, I shouldn't. You know what? I'm being facetious. It looked like 5,500 maybe.
Yeah, it felt that way.
I didn't see the ticket count, but that's what it looked like. We got 7 last time. And it was looking like 3,500 for the longest time. So they moved a lot of tickets in the last. I know the tickets were super cheap though. You could get good seats for $37. As of today. So I imagine they filled up a lot at the end. A lot of people that had tickets for game 7 of the playoffs.
They were set up for 45.50, and 4 hours ago they had 43.36 distributed. So
okay, well, that's not
pretty
bad. That's not bad. But I imagine a lot of people that had spent money on tickets for game 7 of the playoffs, maybe they had a little bit extra money and they were able to go out tonight.
Last visit 7,361.
So
they're down 3,000. And next visit, I would predict based on the feedback tonight about 2,500 if they're lucky.
Ooh.
So yeah.
Ooh. So they didn't like the show then. Okay.
No.
Wow.
Like I said, Shibata match. My buddy, and he doesn't know who Shibata is. He thought that was the best match, and he said, "I will not say it publicly, so I will not say his name here." But he thought that was the best match on the show, Jericho and Shibata. So take that for what it's worth.
Cool.
So yeah,
Thanks
he went
for
to the
joining us, Paul.
He went to the bathroom during Matthews and Edge. So okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyways, take care. Have a great show, guys. I'll listen later. I'll be back next week, Jeff. I'll talk to you on Tuesday, Keila.
I'm looking forward to it. Take care, Paul.
Awesome. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay.
All right. We are back to a 2-person team tonight as I fill in for Paul as he gave us the live version of events for Dynamite and Rampage. And I will say the main event, as we'll get to later, it was loud. I will say that. There was a pop in the building for the beatdown, but we'll get to that towards the end of this review as we get to the opening match of Dynamite last night, which was Adam Copeland versus a member of the House of Black. And that member was Buddy Matthews. Now, I will say, good match, went way too long. I was astounded when we went picture in picture twice. Like, really? We could have just knocked this out in like 2 segments. But no, it just kept going and going and going. Crowd heat was pretty minimal. And then we got the "Where's your mommy?" chant. We want mommy. Like, leave Buddy alone. We know who he's with. No need to be an ass about it. But the work was good. Both guys worked very hard. And Adam Copeland has a tendency to do 20-minute bangers, but sometimes they don't need to be 20 minutes. Sometimes it can be a nice 10 to 12, and you can leave us wanting more. Buddy Matthews does not win a lot on AEW television, so this was way too competitive for me. And then at one point during the picture-in-picture break, he was coughing up blood due to that collision in the middle of the ring, stomach to stomach. So hopefully it's nothing too serious there, but ultimately Adam Copeland comes through with a spear to beat Buddy Matthews 1, 2, 3. And then he goes for more. And we have Malachi Black coming out to basically tempt Adam Copeland to do a concerto to Buddy Matthews. And then the lights go out. Everyone disappears. And then we end scene.
I agree that the match was a little bit too long, but this is also... Boy, they really want... They don't know... Nobody knows how to quite book Buddy Matthews, do they? Because it's one of those things where he's not the most charismatic talker in the world, but he's a great wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody wants to let him cook for a while, but he never gets any quality wins. So it's one of those weird things where, yes, I will watch a 20-minute Buddy Matthews match, but, in this case, we know the outcome. We know that they're there for the, if you're going to run that kind of an angle after this match, I think the match has to be a little bit shorter. I think you're exactly right on this.
Yeah.
I am not the fan of spooky in wrestling all that much. So the Black Mist coming back in terms of being the story when we've already established that, I guess as Kevin said, nihilism counteracts the Black Mist or whatever. The temptation of Adam Copeland doesn't quite get me there. I think at this point it's a lot like Sting. You just want to cheer the guy. So why not just let us cheer the guy for the most part, as opposed to making us think he's going to turn at some point. Yeah, it was a good match. I'm interested to see what the injury was. I think he may have just bonked his head and was spitting up blood as opposed to a rib injury. I hope it's not a rib injury. It's a little crazy to be going that hard for a television match as opposed to waiting for a pay-per-view. And I think that's my critique of this match is, yeah, Buddy Murphy was going hard, but I guess, yeah, use your time and stuff like that. But man, it went way too long for me.
It did. It got tedious. I was like, okay, the crowd is dead on top of that, not helping with the match being so long, very little heat, and both guys are working hard. But as you said, like that is a conundrum with Buddy Matthews, extremely talented, but there's a ceiling there. He's not going to win a lot of matches. He's not the best talker, but he can work his ass off. But there is a limitation there in terms of how far can the character go, and it's not going to go very far. And even though he's a great worker, this match being 20 minutes, considering where he is on the roster, went a bit too much for me in terms of length. Adam Copeland is always very good, but sometimes less is more in order to have a really good championship match.
Yeah, interesting because Copeland's starting to say he now tries to throw in a new move in every match, or maybe it's just every pay-per-view match.
Yeah,
I was kind of looking out for what move it was that he was doing, because I don't think I've ever seen him do an angle slam. I think that was the move, but I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, that one piqued my eyes. I was like, that is an angle slam. I see that. Shout out to Kurt Angle. He did the Avalanche Impaler, which I liked as well. So he did some wrinkles here and there. The Tope Suicida, I thought he hurt his shoulder for a bit. So, dude, you're 50 years old. Let's not dive like that. Just saying. Yes. Come on.
You're someone who is Copeland's age. Don't be doing that stuff, man. Body does not repair as easily as it used to.
No, it is more fragile at 50. So be mindful of those bumps and the bumps on the apron, the dual spillage. That was a lot too. But the body of the match was good. Just cut that thing down about 10 minutes and it would have been a very good match. As we segue to a match that was nice and compact and tight, Samoa Joe versus Brother Zay, Isaiah Cassidy. And Brother Zay, he went flying high in the air, screamed, fell down. And my highlight was him going for a flip dive on the outside. And Samoa Joe sidestepped it. And I had a hearty laugh.
It's it's his best move.
It is.
I love Joe because Joe just brings anger, and his punches are so good. That's the thing that Joe does that nobody else in this company does, is really good punches for the most part. And he exudes toughness, and he's everything I want in a professional wrestler. But just, I have no time for your flippy crap, and just walks away. I'm like, yes, you're speaking to me, Joe. Thank you. Yeah, Isaiah Cassie's another one. It's like we got these young guys, and we've been waiting for them to do something with them for years, and they haven't. And it's like, okay, cool. But a good match. I was fascinated by him thinking that he's getting Okada. I was like, okay, I'm here for that. I really am. I'm here for Joe versus Okada. But I had no inkling of that at the time. But I guess this was this is actually good AEW booking, if I can say that. I think I can. Bringing in your former champ to get a good win to reestablish him on TV, as opposed to putting him away for a while. I liked this.
Yes, this was the reverse Christian Cage. You bring your guy back after losing at Dynasty, and then he gets to win convincingly. I was entertained. Pray for Brother Zay. That bump was gnarly. I did laugh at him trying to overpower Joe, and Joe was like, we're not having that either. Muscle Buster, 1, 2, 3. Simple victory. I love the Okada move as well, which means that we might be right. Samoa Joe might be entering his babyface era, and I am here for that. He is over either way as a face or a heel, and he's just very cool, and there's no denying that. So.
The epitome of cool, because he's watching Zay do his shots, and he's just looking at you are such a dope. I'm gonna kill you as soon as you get in this ring. I love Joe. He's my favorite.
Joe's got one of the best faces in wrestling. Like, it's a mood at all times. He no-sells everything. He takes nothing seriously.
You instantly know how the segment's gonna go just by looking at the look on Joe's face when he comes out. Is he surly Joe? Is he amused Joe? Is he, I am tired of this crap and I'm not taking it, Joe? He's so great. I love him.
He's got 5 faces. I love that for him too. So I was highly entertained and perfect.
5 faces of Joe. That's
yes. Hey, coming up with something here on the show. Take that. You can copyright it. 5 faces of Joe. And you gave us about 5 faces. So I'm here for that too. As we get to Orange Cassidy coming out, and he cuts a promo, and we get some news that I don't know if it's actually true, because we haven't seen Chucky T wrestle in a very long time. So due to the parking lot brawl on Rampage, due to what happened to him after the match, it appears that Chuck Taylor, according to Orange Cassidy, will never wrestle again. I do not know if that is legit, but he has not worked in quite some time, so it is very possible. But until the word is a word, we're going to lean with storyline for now, which leads us to Trent Beretta coming out to trash talk and say, you're making it all about you, Orange Cassidy. You're trying to blame me. We should be blaming yourself. We got security stopping Orange because he's about on-site business on this evening. And then we get Statlander coming out, who I am starting to trust less and less by the week, followed by Don Callis, booed in his home country. And he is actually whispering sweet nothings in Orange Cassidy's ear to say, hey, you say you don't have a family, you have no friends anymore. Well, come talk to me about that. Let me possibly be your new family. I think it's all a swerve. I think ultimately Trent Beretta and Chris Statlander would join the Don Callis family, potentially at Double or Nothing.
That's interesting. I had not thought of Statlander joining him. I thought Statlander and Stokely and Mercedes were going to be a unit for a while. I kind of liked, because I didn't see this kind of swerve coming. I thought, Callis comes out and he he's, Trent, you're doing good. No, he puts his arm around Orange. I'm like, okay, that's an interesting twist. You got me. You've hooked me on this story. Now I want to see. I want to see if you're going to tempt Orange, who I don't think can be tempted. But yeah, I would assume Trent's an interesting choice for the Don Callis family. He is. I am not the biggest Trent Beretta fan. I'm still angry that he had promo time once he blew it, and I've always held that against him for some reason. It's like you have this, and he just the worst promo I'd ever seen. I'm not, his matches are always, it's a Rampage match. That's what I always say. When Trent Beretta versus Tony Nese is the most AEW Rampage match I can think of, but he has a little something with his heel character, and if Callis can get a little bit more out of him, I'm here for it. But he just doesn't fit the mold of a guy because it's usually the bigger guys. With Hobbs being out, there needs to be a replacement. I'd rather it be a power guy, but if it's Trent, he can do worse. I'm here for it. Let's see. I'm very interested to see if Statlander joins now, though. You've got that on me because I'm just like, did not think of that at all. Because I thought she and Mercedes were going to be aligned in some way or whatever. But if she attacked Mercedes, that wouldn't make sense. So never mind. I just talked my way out of it. You're right. Let's go with it.
Yeah, the reason I say that because I remember that Trent and Chris had a conversation backstage. You told her something and it kind of stayed with me because she never said what he said. And now you see all of this going on with Mercedes, the phantom attacks in the dark, and you have Statlander slapping Mercedes and Mercedes thinks it's Willow. It's all a setup. It could either be Stoke and Statlander being aligned together, or it could be her joining the Callis family as well. Either way, Chris is turning heel. To which faction, I don't know yet, but it's definitely happening soon.
But I like your idea better because I think more women need to be involved in the men's stables.
Yeah, for sure. I like that. It's different, and I think she'll be a great fit. And I think that is someone else who came back about a year ago around this time and won the TBS championship, had that initial pop, and then it kind of went from there. So I think she needs something to really latch on to, and this heel turn might be it. I would like to see heel Statlander with a different edge to her, to see what she can bring to a male-dominated faction and, a more revamped AEW women's division as well.
And she's actually improved a little bit on promos.
Yes.
Which is a nice sign for me because that's what I like in wrestling is I like promos. So yeah.
Yeah, good growth there. There was a time a year or so ago, I was like, this is not it, but she is getting better.
To quote Stokely, 2 packs of ass.
It was. I was worried, but she is improving in that regard, and that is a very good thing. As we get to, I will agree, which was my favorite match of the night. It was Shibata versus Jericho for the FTW Championship, for the World Championship, not the other name that Taz loves. But apparently Taz has this huge beef with Jericho having the temerity to class up the FTW Championship, but still leaning into FTW Championship rules, which is interesting because when Hook was the champion, we got nothing really cuckoo crazy too much, more of standard fair matches. This was very hardcore. We had hockey pucks, we had table spots, we had kendo stick shots, and Shibata to me was the highlight of this match. I gotta say, this guy is so great. The chops were everything. They were giving me life. You could hear them. I felt the redness on Jericho's chest. Jericho tried to go chop for chop. Shibata won that battle handily. And what I loved about this match the most was actually the trash can spot of Jericho hitting the trash can. And Shibata would just move forward and inch closer and closer and closer. Headbutt Jericho. Kendo stick battle. Shibata, to me, he pulled off a miracle. He made me care about a Chris Jericho match for the first time in about 6 months. Big feat for him. He had the match won. He was suplexing Jericho on the hockey pucks. Then Jericho threw a hockey puck in his mouth. That is nasty. Then we got Big Bill coming out, helps Jericho by taking out Shibata through the table, and Jericho gets the 1, 2, 3 to retain the classed up FTW Championship.
Taz on commentary when he was angry is good Taz. That's what I liked, and then he got into goofy Taz again, and you're just like, okay, all that heat you were just building now there. I am fairly certain that the trash can kendo stick spot is a rib on Brian Alvarez. Because Alvarez came out I think on last night's Brian and Vinny show and said, I absolutely hate that spot. It's the dumbest spot you can do because why would it hurt you just to get hit with a kendo stick when you have the trash can protecting you? So they found, I think they went to the back and go, okay, how can we make this work? And they made it work it was a ridiculously, unrepentantly stupid spot. Don't get me wrong. In terms of he hits him and then he just walks and stands in front of him until he gets to the corner and headbutts him. I was hoping those were gimmicked hockey pucks. Have you ever felt a hockey puck?
No, I've only felt a hockey stick. I remember I was doing physical education in middle school.
Okay.
And it was very rough because I busted my lip with a hockey stick hitting me right in the mouth. Not a puck, just a stick.
Okay, a hockey puck is a solid piece of rubber, and it's hard. So when he threw that at Shibata's head, and Shibata already having issues with the brain and everything, I freaked out. And especially if you get hit in the mouth with one of those things, if it's even like a light throw, if it's a real puck, knock a few teeth out. That's why hockey players don't have teeth. So I got a little bit worried about that. It was a fun match. Don't get me wrong. I actually think Chris Jericho's getting this insincere babyface character over, which is frightening to me.
Oh no.
Because it's gone from X-Pac heat to actually ironic booing of him. And I think it's going to eventually get him back over, which is just going to live in my nightmares forever. But, for a hardcore match, this was fun. I liked it.
I liked it too. That is my fear too, Jeff, because, for a time I thought, okay, Chris Jericho has been the king of reinvention for 30 years. And when a gimmick runs its course, he tends to pivot. And I thought to myself, is this the one time it's not going to work? Then the Learning Tree makes his grand debut, and it's dumb, it's insincere, it's phony as hell. But then he's so good at being slimy.
He's selling it so
yes,
well.
He sells it. And now you kind of hear like a smattering of like, okay, I kind of like it. It's stupid, but I kind of like it. And that is my fear too, that every Chris Jericho gimmick that has a slow start, it will get over. It will happen. And we will reconvene as I will be a guest on this show in a year. And we'll talk about how the Learning Tree is the most over faction in AEW.
No. We won't go that far. Because I think this story ends with Bill turning on Chris eventually and then making him full babyface again so he can go back to Judas. It's going to be full circle. We're going to get there. And it's nightmare fuel, isn't it? That he can do this.
Oh my God.
I just have Jesse Pinkman in my head going, he can't keep getting away with it. He's going to get away with this, too.
He is a magician for real. I hate him, but I respect the game because he finds a way to find a gimmick and he'll make it work and it'll get over.
The weird thing now is, when he was in WWE, he'd take some time off or he'd go off and do Fozzy or whatever, and then he'd come back and be reinvented. He never takes any time off. He just reinvents himself and just comes right back. It's like, God, I'm so sick of seeing him. But this gimmick's working.
He's like Doctor Who. He regenerates every 2 years in AEW. He goes on a Fozzy tour overseas. He regenerates, and then you get this.
Yes.
So that's Jericho for you. Mark it. 1 year from now, we will come back. Paul will be back in Winnipeg during another show. And then we'll come back and talk about this as how the Learning Tree is over. Jericho's a babyface. Judas is back. And Big Bill is the biggest soul in the company. And then Jericho would say, I made him. You see what I did? I made him somebody.
I finally got a young guy over.
Did it. It took me 20 tries, but I did it.
And a guy in his mid-30s. Come on.
Yes, at that. A double miracle. Seriously. As we get to our next match, which was Claudio Castagnoli versus Brian Cage, the big hoss battle, two talented guys going out there. I think this match went a fair length, about 10, 12 minutes back and forth. We had uppercuts, strikes, clotheslines, suplexes. I really enjoyed the physicality of this match. Both guys are so good. And this was a nice bounce back for Claudio after losing to Swerve in the main event of Collision this past Saturday on TNT. And I thought that both guys worked hard. Crowd was kind of so-so, but they did wake up for the big swing by Cesaro as he got the win via the sharpshooter. And I thought, all in all, the match went just about right, not too long.
This is a match I admit is good, but I don't like them. This was definitely a get your shit in match because it's Brian Cage. But it's a hoss battle. But the offense doesn't do anything to either guy. You know, it's a lot like why my one critique of the Shibata match is, yeah, they're chopping the crap out of each other, but they're not acting like they're getting killed by the chops. They're just standing there and going, yes, give me another one. Whereas I kind of want, you know, I'm from Flair Steamboat School where you get hit with a chop and you sound like it's death. And I like that. This is two guys clubbing each other, and you're just waiting for one of them to be affected by the offense in some ways. This was a PWG match in a lot of ways. Although, let me ask you this: you are a WWE fan. I watch WWE. Is Claudio turning a little bit sports entertaining with the big spin and stuff?
Yeah, he's kind of reverting back to Cesaro days. It's starting a little bit.
That was my thought on this match. For the most part, is, man, this is such a WWE Claudio match. This isn't a Claudio match.
No, it was less violent than usual.
Although I liked the irony of Cage taking back his suplex spot because that's where Claudio got it from.
Yes, I like that. I loved it. Like, that is a callback I can appreciate. We got the dueling 619 stew from both guys. So I like the kind of cash receipt in real time of this match. Really good. But yeah, it was kind of inconsequential. At the end of the day, these two shall not meet again for a very long time. But for the time they were given, it was very good, even though I do agree with you. Like, for over a year, Cesaro, or shall I say Claudio, because we have in that WWE flashback right now, he was more violent, more bruising, and more in your face. This was very friendly Claudio on last night's Dynamite, giving people the crowd-pleasing spots.
Yeah. I kind of want to see one sketch with the Blackpool Combat Club going, what's with the spin?
We don't spin.
We don't spin. We punch people.
Okay, we beat him up. We bloody him up. We don't spin, Claudio. We don't give the people entertainment. We're wrestlers.
We're not here to entertain. We're here to cripple people. Come on.
Kayfabe kill. That's what we do. Okay, make them bleed. That is the goal here. But all in all,
Wheeler starts doing the worm. Just turns
turns
into hell.
Oh no! If Willa Yuta does a worm in an AEW ring, shut the whole business down. No. Shut it down. That is the last day I will ever cover this industry. If that happens, that would be blasphemous, Jeff. It would.
I'm just cracking wise. Let's move on.
Okay. Quickly before this show falls into a crater, because that was just blasphemy you spoke. And watch it happen. Willa Yuta doing a worm on Dynamite in 6 months. And Moxley would kill him because how dare you do that in my ring? As we get to Serena Deeb versus Mariah May, the match was good. Very good, actually. It went too long. I have to say that too, because Serena Deeb is going in as the #1 contender for the AEW Women's World Championship against timeless Toni Storm at Double or Nothing. That match is made official. Really enjoyed the physicality of this match. Mariah May, I enjoy her work the more I see her, and she's starting to stand out a bit more. I don't want to say officially that Toni Storm is a baby face. I gotta really believe it to see it. I know she's been leaning in the last couple of weeks. I'm not surely bought in all the way in yet, but we'll see as we get closer to this matchup and see the promo exchange in the weeks to come. Very good match. Love the technique by both ladies. Serena Deeb is very good in the ring, obviously. My one criticism is that for months and months, and really for almost 2 years, she was not on AEW television, on Dynamite at least. And she recently came back via Collision. And everybody that watches Collision doesn't watch Dynamite and vice versa. So you kind of got to school the people on her story from where she was a year and a half ago to where she is now. Have that package play on Dynamite and make this championship match at Double or Nothing mean a bit more. Hopefully we get that in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, no, I'm a big Serena Deeb fan. It was interesting though that she kind of played babyface in this because she gave the flag to somebody in the crowd, and I thought she was here as a heel. So I don't know. It's another one of those gray areas that we don't know about. But I am big team Serena Deeb. I'm gonna push back a little bit on your critique just a little bit, because they actually did the work here with Serena Deeb, because I think they played the promos of her on Dynamite too, where she was in the dungeon or whatever she called it, and being the professor and stuff like that. It's one of the few times they've actually promoted somebody coming back before bringing them in as a surprise type of a thing, in terms of, like they did with Christian, where he just went away and then didn't come back. They actually said, "Hey, Serena Deeb's coming back." Kudos for them. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the match though. And Mariah and Serena Deeb was interesting because, yeah, Serena Deeb's a heel against Tony, but she's a babyface against Mariah, and she's enjoying torturing Mariah, which is always the sadistic babyface is always an interesting choice. But I think she kind of pulled it off here.
She did, and Tony threw in the towel, which was a babyface thing to do.
Yes.
So that was good to see as well. So I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for checking me on. Like, I wanted to make sure that they hyped up Serena's return on Dynamite.
Yeah, because I really wanted her in Blackpool Combat Club. I was really hyped for that. But no, the one thing they missed here though, I still think you kind of gotta keep hyping the Mina Shirakawa stuff if we're gonna be doing it.
Yes.
We can't just take her off of TV for a few weeks and then bring her back. That's one of those things where not a lot of people still know Stardom. I mean, they know that she has this polka music she comes out to, but that's about it. But
yes.
Yeah.
And she's very charismatic, and she'll get over that way for sure. She has charisma for days. If you never saw her a day in your life, like, she comes out there instantly charismatic, and you can just really see why she's popular in Stardom. But I want consistency. I want to see her with Tony and Mariah. Let them be a unit. Stop having this thing be every few weeks. She comes out, she wins a match, and then she disappears. Have them be a trios. Yeah. I'm good.
And or at least have Tony be like uncomfortable with her hanging around with Mariah the whole time. If we're gonna get to Tony and Mina, for the love of Mariah,
yes,
she should be around a lot more. That's all I'm saying.
Exactly. Lean in. Let's go all in on that. For the love of Mariah. That sounds like a reality television show on Max. I like that.
Max After Dark, possibly.
Not Max After Dark. But yes, I'm here for that as well. Let's make them a trios. And then we get to the real ultimate battle of Tony and Mariah when that day comes. Love the slow burn thus far. As we now get to our main event of the evening, it is the return of Kenny Omega in his home country. And he comes out to a great reception in Winnipeg. And I have to say this, Kenny Omega, as a wrestler, is tremendous. As a character, I will say that hit and miss for me in AEW. But he is a captivating talker in other settings as an interviewee. Love everything he has to say outside of the AEW vortex, so to speak. I thought that tonight he cut the best promo of his AEW career because it was from a real place. He talked about the diverticulitis that he has been dealing with for the last few months. He talked about the doctor being very frank with him, saying that if we don't take care of this right now, you're going to die. You basically had 24 hours to live if you didn't come in here and get checked out, talking about the possibility of having a colostomy bag if you opt to not have the surgery right now. One blow to your stomach, and then we just fillet you open and then we got to do what we got to do, and you'll never wrestle again. He was basically being very frank about the possibility of him never wrestling again. One shot to the gut, he's done. He talked about watching Dynasty, seeing Swerve win the championship, seeing great matches such as Ospreay and Danielson going head to head. So he was fueled by this need to come back. He had, tremors in his hands. It wasn't because he was afraid. It was because it was because of withdrawals. He wanted to get back in the ring and do what he loves, whether it's risky or not. He wants to go back in there and fight. And I love that. It came from a real place. And I think, as Paul alluded to, because the context of the promo was so serious, that the beatdown, it might have been like a hush in the arena, but I did hear a sizable reaction when Okada came out there and let him know that I am the new best bout machine in AEW, not you anymore. Then we got the sneak attack by Jungle Boy, Jack Perry, and the beatdown commences. Kenny tries to fight back, lands a Snapdragon suplex on Jungle Boy, but then the rest of the Elite come out. The Young Bucks, Matthew, Nicholas Jackson come out there, hit the EVP trigger on Kenneth, lay him out. He'll beat down to end the show. Rampage begins around 10:10 Eastern. We have Kenny stretched out of the arena, and then in a really cruel spot, I take that back. FTR comes out before the show ends, and they make the save. And we have a question: how did Cash get over the border? We don't know. He made it. They was out there for reasons. They booked their flight accommodations. Very nice EVPs. Very nice accommodating EVPs. And after the show was over, we go backstage. The Elite jump FTR. And as Kenneth is getting stretched into the ambulance, they overturn the stretcher, and Kenny goes splat on the concrete. That was menacing and cruel by
on his stomach. Yeah.
On his stomach. So the stomach shots, I like it. Now, based on what we see, this is clearly storyline. I think Kenny will be back in a couple of months, but I did love the evilness of the Elite by going after that stomach, and Kenny selling accordingly. So all in all, I heard the heat. It might have been piped in. I'm not sure. But for what this was, I thought this was very good. Good heat for the Elite as they beat down, demolished, and destroyed Kenny Omega.
I mostly liked it. I agree with you. I think Kenny Omega, for me, my problem listening to his promos at times is that he doesn't do sincerity well. And it's very weird. Even when he's like not being anything other than trying to be earnest, it comes off as a little bit phony earnestness. I liked this promo. Actually, the thing that threw me off was his use of the word fillet. I was like, your doctor's a jerk if he's going to say we're going to fillet you open. It did. It threw me off out of the promo. I went, that's a bit flippant. They'll just fillet me open. And I do know he needs to get surgery still, so it may be a little bit longer than I think. I think this is a good way to take him off. My one note, if I were producing this, is I would have had absolutely no wrestling moves involved in this. This would have been a punch, kick, really feel like you're trying to beat him down type of thing. No cute EVP triggers, nothing like that. Get a little bit of the hate in here kind of a thing. Make it feel like you're really trying to put him out of wrestling. But for what it was good. And I liked the inanimate objects don't work well with people in wrestling sometimes. They did a nice save on the strap on the gurney breaking to free his arms.
Yes.
Where Okada basically takes the arm and pulls it down so he can't fight back. I watched that and go, that's a good save right there, Okada. Way to be paying attention. But yeah, no, this is a good enough angle to take him out for a couple months.
Agreed. The poor stretcher job, like, come on. Like, it was so it wasn't quite secure, but Okada came through and, handled what he needed to handle. I appreciate that.
Yeah, for beat downs, I want beat downs. I don't want dragon suplexes and things like that. You know?
Yeah, I agree because it kind of took me out of the promo just a little bit because you talk about life-threatening injury and you're doing
Yes.
a wrestling move.
Yes.
Like, let's save that, Kenneth. Going for a V trigger to let's save the wrestling aspects of it, Kenny. Because what I would have loved, as you said, is what's the issue? The stomach.
Yeah.
Let's target that area and get the most heat by going after the one thing he said, one blunt force shot,
Yes.
and I'm done. Chair shot to the stomach. Go out, stomp on the stomach. Do what you got to do.
Stomping on the stomach, punching this, going after him, and have him fight for his life, type of a thing. Not trying to do moves or anything like that. Yeah.
Yes, gasping for air. Let's sell it. A little bit of that would have been perfect.
It would have been.
yeah.
It would have been. I compare these types of things to roller coasters. You put in a little bit of the work for the momentum up here, and it'll just all go downhill easy after that. Yeah, I really like that. I mean, that's my only gripe about it. I mean, I like angles that are taken a bit seriously, and I think that's also the problem with the Bucks too. Is they're saying hey Kenny, we love you, and it's just business type of a thing. I just went, no, I want to hear them go, we hate you, Kenny.
Yes.
We want to get rid of you, Kenny.
Exactly.
You were never pulling your weight as an EVP, Kenny. Saying those things, almost to a point of, are they channeling Cody Rhodes in any way? That kind of a thing. Make it seem like somebody had beef with it and they want to live it out through this angle or something. That was my only. It was a cute. It wasn't quite a cute wrestling angle, but it still had its foot one step in the, this is just wrestling and this isn't real type thing.
Yeah, I need the Bucks to be really menacing evil bastards at this point.
Yes.
Stop being cutesy. It's like a weak spot for me. Like, that's the drawback because you beat up Tony Khan, you get laughs. And they got a little bit cheered at the beginning of this episode when they kind of cut into Tony's announcement that he wasn't going to be in the building. So I need them to be menacing assholes. They have to lean into being pure evil, that you're not doing anything for pops.
Perry to be an uncontrollable sociopath.
Yes.
Where the Bucks are almost afraid of having Jack Perry on their side. He has so much rage in him. That kind of thing.
Yes. Because if you're trying to lean into what Roman Reigns did, crazy comparison, change your music up, you go the Succession route, and you just have this new demeanor to you that is just real chilly and menacing. It's kind of giving me Solo, scaring the hell out of Paul Heyman every Friday on SmackDown. I need Jack Perry to be that for the Bucks. I need him to strike the fear of God in them. Like, that's the one guy you can't control. The
like
one
Okada's
guy,
like dragging him off of the thing and away from the Bucks and going, look, you need to calm down, sir.
Yes.
He's Wayne Grow in heat. That kind of thing. Yeah.
Yes. Like, he's unhinged. So he needs to be the unhinged wild card of this crew, and they need to be a bit more serious. Okada does a good job, but stop being cutesy and get heat by being absolute diabolical assholes. That's how you get it done.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that wraps up AEW Dynamite on TBS. We're going to quickly get into AEW Rampage that aired immediately after Dynamite. We did not know that was going to happen, as we said at the top of this episode. Like, holy shit, they went 3 hours and 10 minutes, but hey, it's a thing. So hour 3.5 kicks off with Jay White versus Dante Martin. Good match. Crowd's tired. Like, they have seen enough for the evening. They want to go home. This was fine.
What's the point of this match?
There is no point.
Exactly. That's what they were saying. What is the point of this? Oh, we get to see Jay White. Great. Is this building anything? Nope. Don't care. Jay White's going to win this. Let's move on. That's what they were thinking.
Yeah. Had the trios match before with these combination of teams here, and Dante loses this match, and then we think that Jay White is going to be a gentleman and help Dante to his feet. Nope. Another attack, and there ended that. And I'm like, okay, I don't care.
He is really somebody who needs something. I don't. Jay White. I mean, you talk to Mel, and she's like, I just think Jay White's one of the greatest wrestlers, and he was New Japan champ and all that. And he's in here basically with geeks in terms of the guns who aren't very serious. And it's like everybody's waiting for that Jay White that was IWGP champion. And I don't think they're going to get him anytime soon.
No, and I am going to say something on this show. If Vince, the devil, was truly gone from WWE like he is now, I think Jay would have signed with the WWE.
I agree.
He would have signed.
If he was going to Hunter and HBK's NXT for a few moments, I think he may have gone there and then taken his chances.
Yeah, I think he would have took a chance. And whenever his contract is up, I think he'll make the jump then as well. I just think that if Vince was completely out of the picture, he would have definitely made that decision to sign, but I don't blame him. But I absolutely blame AEW for this man's presentation. For a year now, it has been very so-so. He's in a trios team with belts that don't mean a whole lot right now, and he should mean a whole lot more than he does.
With a gimmick that doesn't matter the Bullet Club doesn't matter anymore.
No,
it really doesn't, and it's just it's such a relic from the past that we could have done something. Let's give Jay White a Jay White stable.
Yes,
yeah.
Be original. The Bullet Club is dead. It had a great run 10 years ago, 8 years ago, 5 years ago. It's done. It's a fad now. It was a nice piece of history, but it does not resonate like it used to.
It's like when WCW kept reigniting the Horseman name.
Yeah.
And it's like, you just like, these guys aren't horsemen. They're guys in suits, but they ain't horsemen. That kind of a thing.
Yeah.
It's like, make something new that's their own that he can then own and do that.
Yeah, so the match existed. That's the best we can say for it.
It was a match that happened and existed. That's perfect.
Yes. That's my go-to anytime that a match is
that
just
is
there.
My definition of Rampage, too. It exists.
It exists for 3 hours on a Wednesday sometimes, and 1 hour on Fridays, and even 3 hours on a Saturday. You take your pick. As we get to our next match, which was Rocky Romero versus Kyle O'Reilly, and I thought this was another match that simply existed. I do want to shout out right now USVA guy. It is still the largest seller of merchandise in the industry. That is true, but the relevancy of them as a faction.
Now, I'd be interested if he knows, like, if it's just plain Bullet Club, or if it's like, the old Kenny Bucks, Cody Bullet Club stuff also sells big, or if it's like the modern Bullet Club, which I believe it's like the War Dogs and whoever in there. I'd be interested to see if it breaks down, or if you're just talking basic Bullet Club. The generic merchandise that says Bullet Club. But I mean, you can't, look, money talks, man. Get paid. I'm all about getting paid. So yeah, sure.
Clarify as War Dogs and
Dogs in the House of Torture.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Rocky Romero and Kyle O'Reilly wrestled. This match had no purpose. The theme was that is it Kyle O'Reilly who wants to wrestle his friends, or is it Rocky Romero who wants to wrestle his friends? I can't remember this one, but one of them wants to wrestle their friends, and then Kyle O'Reilly tried to break the guy's arm on the outside. That's not just winning a match; that's torturing your friends. And I just went, yes, they did not think this story through. Kyle O'Reilly is a wrestler who exists. I thought this whole no sleep, wide-eyed hobo look that he had going on was going to lead to something like some weird, wacky character change out of Kyle O'Reilly. Nope. He's just turned into plain old vanilla Kyle O'Reilly. Okay. Very good wrestler. Make a good third guy in a stable. That's my opinion.
You know what? Going through life, Kyle O'Reilly that came back from injury a month or so ago, stressed out, but he was with it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But I think that in about 2 months, he will be a proud member of Undisputed Kingdom. It's going to happen. He can fight the title all he wants. He's going to be in the stable.
He's going to replace Wardlow, and it's going to make no
Yes.
sense whatsoever.
Yes, I feel it right now. And poor Wardlow, this fella here. Let me tell you something. Between what happened to him when MJF no-sold the beat down at Double or Nothing a couple of years ago, and on top of that, I will tell you how his career has never been the same. When Samoa Joe chopped that ponytail, that did it. What made Wardlow special and unique? That ponytail.
He was Samson.
Ponytail gone.
Okay, there you go.
He was Samson. Ponytail gone, generic wrestler number 10. That's what he's become.
Well, this last build before he became part of this Undisputed Kingdom was interesting, and he had those promos and the vignettes, and you're like, okay, that's cool. It's kind of like, I think this is next, so this will segue. I thought the Roosh vignette was fantastic on this show. It was some of the most interesting stuff they've done with Roosh, other than have him come out and beat up people, because like the Los Ingobernables thing didn't hit. But then they made him part of the stable, and then it's original, and then it's immediately Adam Cole doesn't trust him, and you're just like, they haven't even been a unit yet. Let's hold off on breaking them up just yet. So, yeah, but the Roosh thing was awesome. That's my takeaway.
Wow, we just said whatever. Roosh, yes. After his surprise return on Collision, welcome vignette to say here he is. Hopefully the push matches the vignette.
That match on Collision, man. Martin Stone was having a bad evening, and I love me some Martin Stone.
Me too. I enjoy him.
Over delivered in NXT when he was there.
Yes, it's Danny Burch, but then like this.
But you need hazard pay wrestling Roosh, man, because
you do
just. But that's also what makes him great. Is that I believe that he's being very violent to people he should not be violent to. So it makes me want to see more Roosh, which is very unfortunate for other wrestlers who have to face Roosh.
Yes, and we pray for them because he's going to let you have it. He's going to beat your ass. Really beat it. And I am here for the violence. I love Roosh. Love the vignette that we saw. As we now get to the main event of the show, it was.
Well, let me add something in here because we didn't go over promos.
Okay, no problem.
I love promos.
Okay.
The Jericho Big Bill one. That's why I think the Jericho thing's getting over, because he just came out there, smiled, and waved. I'm just like, how the hell is this working? The Undisputed Kingdom one. God, can we stop with the Roddy with the random screaming and make him? Roddy is a very good dickbag heel, but he feels like when he's reciting lines, he loses all of that edge to him as a heel. And this felt very much like that. The Deonna Purrazzo promo was such a WWE 2019 promo where it's like, why? Can you tell us why? Why? You know, and they repeat the last thing said to them and then say nothing. Swerve's promo, though. What was your feeling on that?
I liked it. I wonder who's coming with him on Dynamite on Wednesday.
I think it's the Gates of Agony.
Very possible.
But I don't know. I'm having this problem with Swerve because the evil laugh at the end, I'm just like, okay, he's a babyface champion. You're no longer the evil guy, Swerve. I want you to be They give inconsistent characterization to Swerve at times, and my fear is he's going to become just Swerve with the title as opposed to the champion of your company type of a thing. I will let it go a week to see who he brings with him. I'm hoping it's baby faces. If it's the Gates of Agony, I don't know. Once again, he's a babyface in a heel stable, and we already have that with Will Ospreay, and we kind of have that with Wardlow. Maybe. I don't know what they're doing with him. The little laugh and the smile at the end. I'm just like, okay. I just want you to be pissed at Christian.
Yes.
That's all. You kicked my ass. I'm coming back to kick your ass next week. Boom.
Yes.
I'm in with that. You know, the whole knowing chuckle that he has an evil plan afoot. I'm just like, well, that's not good for a babyface champ. But I'll let it go until next week.
And I will watch and see if this tick happens again. And I do agree, because after a guy basically says, I am going to take your daughter and I'm going to be her new daddy. What? I am not
It's the
cackling
Hangman
after
issue.
that.
It's the Hangman issue. When Swerve cut a promo on the kid in the crib, Hangman waited 2 weeks to go after him. No, you go right after him. But we're running low on time. Let's this main event. If AEW wants to sell their company to people, say, hey, we have a women's division where your career will be over in 3 years, but they're gonna have the most badass hardcore matches ever. When this division decides to go hardcore, it is awesome. And I don't, take Ty Mello, Anna Jay,
Yes.
Sky Blue, all these, and I don't mean this in a derogatory way at all, but all these pretty girls just decide, F that. I'm going to show you how bad a bitch I am. And they just go and they're slamming barbed wire and tacks, and I watch these. I'm like, save that for the pay-per-view. But no, we're getting this on weekly television for my amusement. I'm loving it. I love to make them the FTW champion. Get rid of the TBS belt, make it the FTW belt, and just make every women's match hardcore. Mercedes can go. Let's do this. Please tell me about this match so I may relive it again.
This match was great.
Oh,
I agree with you. The precedence is there. And it's always on Rampage, by the way, or a Collision now, that you will have these brutal, violent street fights.
Or the end of the year throwaway show.
Yes.
Yeah.
The New Year's Bash episode of Rampage. Yes. And it's like the holiday street fight, like that. And it's always bloody and violent and gory, and I love it. This is like the women's division at its best, and they woke up a very sleepy crowd. Willow Nightingale's awesome. Sky Blue has improved a lot, and the bumps this woman took in this match, ridiculous. And I just loved it. We had barbed wire on tables. We had thumbtacks. They're both bumping on the thumbtacks.
The best part, Matt Menard going, somebody built that and brought it to the arena.
Matt Menard, I have to say this for him. A gift on commentary. He has found his calling. He is amazing. He is astute.
He and Nigel are both the best.
They are the best.
Either of them. Yeah.
I remember my ears perked up a few weeks ago when I found out, Daddy Magic is doing commentary. This guy is great. Keep him, pay him for life. He's exceptional at this. And then the crazy spot of Willow was on the top rope. And, she wants to go for a moonsault, right? Ain't nobody in the water, Sky moved out the way right on the steel chairs.
Landed on a chair.
Oh God, brutal.
I was like, do you want to ruin your pay-per-view? I mean, we love this match, but I'm worried about their safety because part of the gift is, look, we're taking these women who aren't necessarily I'm not gonna say they're not Bryan Danielson in terms of technicians. I mean, they do things well, don't get me wrong. But they can put themselves in unsafe situations in hardcore matches. I don't want Willow knocked out before Double or Nothing because I am so here for the Mercedes match.
Me too.
And when she landed on her knees on a chair, and that was flush. I mean, that was more flush than Jericho's knees hitting Shibata.
Yes.
Which was also that dude's having a bad night.
Yes, he is.
With old man Jericho. Yeah, I she looked okay for the rest of the match. I'm hoping it wasn't just adrenaline.
Me too, because she said on a live mic last week in Jacksonville, Mercedes, I want you at 100%. Yes. Willow, I need you at 100%. Okay? Do not tip fate, because then Mercedes looking at you like, talking about me. What about you and your bum knee? Like, no, I need you both.
The next week. Yeah, Willow, we got this idea. We want you to powerbomb someone through a table through barbed wire. You okay with that?
Sure. Yeah. I would love to do that. And then I'll do a moonsault on this steel chair and my knee goes right on it. Jeez. So thankfully she recovers and she's going to powerbomb Sky Blue through a table on barbed wire to get the victory. An absolutely sick finish to a sick match that was blood-free.
I like the barbed wire they're using now.
Yes, me too.
It's a little more gimmicky. It's
got more bounce to it.
It's not real barbed wire, but there are some barbs in it. But yeah, I think of the nightmare situation. I was an ECW fan in the mid '90s, and they went to get. They're like, well, we want to do barbed wire spots. Okay, so they went down to Home Depot, and they got barbed wire, but it was this chemically treated barbed wire that you use for livestock and stuff. And so they all got sick getting cut on the barbed wire from that. I adored this match far more than I should, and it took me back to ECW mid-90s type stuff. It's like, we're just going to have a hardcore match out of the blue. All right. I mean, like, usually I'd wanted built, for a feud, but actually the Sky Blue promo talking about, hey, we kicked your ass in a street fight. I was like, oh, she wants to do it again. Okay, I'm cool with this. The story's there. I'm good. We're good. So they made it make logical sense too. But yeah, no, I this is my match of the week so far. I loved this.
Yes, in terms of like pure entertainment, that was my favorite match of Rampage. I still love Shibata versus Jericho because Shibata is like the best. But yes, hardcore matches with the women's division in AEW rule all the time. And last night, via this match was no exception. Hopefully Willow is okay. Gotta have you at 100% for your match against Mercedes Moné at Double or Nothing for the TBS Championship. Unfortunately, for my girl Willow, you're gonna be about a 1 month champion. Maybe. I pray, but I don't trust Chris Statlander. And with that, Jeff, we did it.
Yes.
We survived.
Let's get our plugs in and go home.
Yes.
I will start and you can finish it since you're the star of the show. I'm just a goof. You can follow me at Crap Game 13, arcane references, wrestling takes, bad jokes, Bengals talk. I'll have to check the hockey score. I don't think we won. But I do a show called Shake Them Ropes over on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Myself and Chris Novembrino, who follows nothing on the internet, talking both WWE and AEW this week. Draft analysis. Boy, won't that be fun. We'll see what he thought of the 3-hour block on Wednesday, plus any news that breaks on Thursday or Friday. Keila, to you.
All right. Thank you very much. As for myself, I normally drop fresh episodes of The Wrap of my co-captain Scott Young every now Tuesday morning on the Fight Game Media Network. We talk about the week that was in WWE, ranging from Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. Any breaking news that we cover, we would do it live, sometimes after a PLE as well. Speaking of which, we are covering WWE Backlash in France Sunday morning, special edition of The Wrap to recap the week that was in WWE via that. And I see fireworks and I'm popping right now.
I forgot I could do that again. Yeah.
Yes.
Woohoo!
I was distracted. Like, what is happening? Is that like WrestleMania 40? Is that what happened in the main event? So yeah, that too. And also I do wrestling podcast on the side, WrestleTopia. Haven't done an episode in a long time, but it's also a soap podcast as I cover a lot of stuff from General Hospital every Monday morning with my co-captain Jasmine. So we drop that every Monday on WrestleTopia. You can Google it and you can follow and you can listen back to that and other archived episodes of everything covering WWE and AEW for the last 4 or so years, 600 plus episodes in the archive for that as well. And before I go, I will be on The Joy of Wrestling with Paul Fontaine Tuesday night at 11 o'clock p.m. Eastern, live on YouTube. We'll talk about a half an hour and I'll try to entertain you guys to the very best of my ability, but it has been a pleasure.
What did you pick for Joy of Wrestling? Do you know?
I have not made a decision yet.
Okay.
I will make up my mind close to airtime and surprise everybody. Yes, but I will do that on Tuesday. But I do want to say thank you, Jeff, and thanks to Paul for entrusting me to be a special guest co-host for tonight's Dynamite show live on YouTube and via podcast form on Fight Game Media. And with that, We're going to say goodnight. Thank you guys for staying up late and for joining us, because we know it is late on the East Coast. It is 1:03 a.m. Let's go to bed. So for myself and for Jeff Hawkins, enjoy the rest of the week, guys. Take care. Bye-bye. Paul will be back here next week covering AEW Dynamite right here alongside Jeff. Take care, guys.
Good night.
Good night. Bye-bye.